Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Building Three Pillars. And I'm your host, John Waters. As usual, hope you all had a great weekend. Hope you're able to get out and take advantage of some of this cool weather we had. A little different if you're out here in the northern Kentucky area. I know I myself was surprised by how warm it was, especially if you consider last week and how cold it was. So it was definitely a welcome change. All right. And so today we're going to get right into today's Monday motivation topic, which is going to be built for this. And as usual, I'll start off with a quote. Today's quote comes from Brene Brown. I'm actually reading one of her books currently, Dare to Lead, that was recommended to me by one of my friends, Connor Darity. I want to shout him out and say thank you for the great read so far. All right, and the quote says, "When I see people stand fully in their truth, or when I see someone fall down, get back up and say, 'Damn, that really hurt. But this is important to me, and I'm going in again.' My gut reaction is, what a badass." All right. And again, as usual, I start these things off with a question. If you could convince yourself that you could do anything, what would you do? All right. So, build for this. What got me thinking about this topic? So, once upon a time, actually not that long ago, I used to, as I mentioned before, hold down different jobs. And one of the things that used to always get to me was how tired I was or how exhausted I felt, or whatever my emotional range was, it was extreme, it felt like. And one of the things that used to help me push through that is I would listen to a few songs, but in those songs was the reoccurring theme that I was made for this, I was built for this. And then later on in my life, I started listening, as I've mentioned before, to Les Brown. And one of the things he said that always stuck with me is that, when people get into hard times, they always say, "Why me?" And then he always responds with, "Well, who else would you prefer it happened to?" You know? And I know it's comical when you think about it, but for me, it really hit hard. I always tell myself I'm built for this. And it didn't really stop there. It actually transferred over into other parts of my life. Whenever other things would start to happen to me or, happen for me, I would always tell myself, like no matter how tough this is, I was built for this. I'm a beast. We'll get into that here in a second. But one thing that really was valuable to me, and again, like I do with all of these shows, these are just my experiences, and I'm just sharing them in hopes that it could be beneficial to you. But one of the things that I used to do or think about was, my self worth and being able to recognize it and being able to recognize that I add value. But, this show was really tailored to the person that's looking to make a change, whether that be in the fitness industry or changing your personal career. Um, One thing that I realized, and that's a common theme in a lot of the people I listen to, is that before you can have whatever it is you want to work for, whatever that goal is you're dreaming of, before it can actually be yours, you have to believe first that you can have it. You have to believe that you're someone who can get the job done. And I know originally for myself, I mean, it may not be the same for you. I was fortunate enough to be in the military prior to this part of my life. And so believing that I can do things and believing that, something that was within my grasp wasn't so far off because I like seeing procedures. I like seeing steps. I know that if there's a plan, I can make it happen. But that may not be the case for you. But no matter what your situation is, before you can have what it is you want, you have to really believe it's yours. You have to really believe that it's something that you can accomplish. And talking with this topic, I want to go right along with perception. And perception is everything. I don't know how many of you guys, have seen the meme or the picture on Facebook where they have the two people in the well, it looks like a train or a railway car, and one person looking out the window, and it's a gloomy day, and the other person looking out the window, and he's seeing all the hope and opportunity in that. And it's kind of surprising if you think about real life applications. You can take two people, put them in the same situation, and they'll have two different experiences from coming out of that thing. And the person who's willing to go in there with an open mindset and willing to go in there and look for the opportunities for success, or at least look for the opportunity to learn a lesson, is going to fare more or fare better than the person who went in there negatively. The person that went in there, already with their whole heart not into it, they're not going to really be able to see the opportunities and respond appropriately. And I can speak from experience in that particular area. Um, as I mentioned in some podcasts, that I used to definitely be one of those people who uh, I always, prayed for the best, but, looked for the worst things to happen. And as I mentioned before, that's definitely not a recipe for success. You often get what you expect. And you definitely got to change what you're thinking about before you can change the things that, start appearing in your life, more rapidly. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the idea of the law of attraction. And I know this is probably going to sound super mystic and things like that. So I'm not going to dive into that a lot. But I really do believe that, what you focus on, you're going to gravitate towards. And I don't even think there's anything magical about that. I mean, it just makes sense. If all you think about is cars, you're going to be more likely to hang out with people who talk about cars. You're going to be more likely to watch shows to deal with cars. That's just the way it is. So if you take that idea and you apply it to success, the more you think about success, the more often and more likely you're going to be to actually be able to have that. But I know it may not be all that easy. I know I'm kind of talking as if it's as simple as snapping your fingers, and I know that's not the case at all. I know that it's going to take some hard work. And so, one of the underlying topics of this main conversation for today is dealing with self worth, but also dealing with, the lows that come along with trying to do something big. And I talk about self worth first because I feel like that's important. That's a key piece of being able to take that step to going towards what you want. But I know one thing that can stop a lot of people, and I know one thing that kind of bothered me a little bit before I really understood the process coming into the personal training industry for myself. I'm sure this can apply to you too if you're looking to do something different. Is the idea that there are already so many people out there doing it. Why would anyone want to listen to you? Why would anyone see you as someone worthy taking advice from or coming to see for their session, whatever that may be, or whatever that business opportunity is that you yourself are willing to present to others? You may have some self doubt as far as if you're worthy enough to be presenting it to them or if it'll be worth their time to come see you. And the biggest thing about that is you have to get out of your own head. So I have a friend that I've been working with for a while now, and one of the things that uh, stops her, and I'm sure a lot of you listening can relate to this, especially if you're still on the edge about going to the gym, is that whole self talk idea. The idea that I can't go to the gym, and following this part of the statement saying I can't go to the gym, you can plug and play with any kind of reasoning to follow that. But this particular person reason for not going to the gym is they feel that someone else may be watching them, or it may be the idea that they're just intimidated by the gym altogether, or maybe they feel that if they go in there they'll be lost because it's a whole new world that differs from the one they're used to training in when they're training at home. And that is definitely something that's hard to work around. But you have to get out of your own head. You have to really figure out what it is you want to accomplish, and most importantly, why it is you want to accomplish it. And yes, I know I talked about the gym, but this also applies to whatever it is you're working on outside of that. If what you want to do is big enough, you'll have to find a reason compelling enough within that reason or that idea to get you to go ahead and do that thing. For me myself, it was branching out and doing this business, not really for myself, but so that I can have a major impact on the people that I'm around. I often mention my daughter when I talk about these things, but I was thinking about it over the weekend. And yes, she is a major component of why I do what I do, but it's really to leave or really to place an idea or hopefully a spark in someone else's mind, because it may not be her that necessarily gets influenced from what I do. I'm hoping that, I do all of this work to inspire one person to go after whatever it is they want in their life. That is my reason. For me, that is strong enough to get up in the morning and make these videos. It is strong enough to keep me up at night working on my programs. It is strong enough to, prevent me from taking a nap in the middle of the day because I'm tired, but I also know I need to study. Like knowing that eventually one day what I'm doing will potentially impact one person is all that I need. Mostly because I can put myself in a position where I can relate to being that one person. Like when I do all of this and I'm recording, the thing that's in the back of my mind is I'm doing and saying all of the things that I wish when I was younger I heard someone else do and say to me, and that is my reason. You have to find something inside of you that is compelling enough to drag you out of the bed, to push you past the gym doors, to get you out of the car, to make you press the button on that resume, to make you show up for that job interview, that's going to get you there. It has to be something that's strong enough to get you there. And one other thing I think you'll find empowering, maybe not when I first tell you, but everything that's happening to you, you have to say it's your fault. You have to figure out what your role is in that situation and how you can change it. And yes, I understand there's going to be things in your life that are possibly happening right now that are freaking ridiculous. And so obviously, I'm not talking about the loss of a loved one. I'm not talking about, what someone else is doing, but I'm talking about your particular role in whatever the situation is that got you where you are. That is on you. And the beautiful thing about that I couldn't realize that was very empowering for me and has been very empowering for me along the way is that if it was my fault that I ended up there, it's within my grasp, it's within my control, it's within my power to pull myself up out of there. And so I hope that you find some kind of enlightenment or some kind of power inside that statement, that realizing that the first step to getting what you want is taking full responsibility for the things that are happening around you. All right. And the title of this is Built for This. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things that I used to do when I was really tired and fatigued was listen to a couple songs, and the overall thing would be Built for This. Um, Internal dialogue. All right. So before I was a personal trainer, obviously I was just a fitness enthusiast. And it's been that way since what, 2008. I've just been probably longer than that. 2007 is when I really started getting serious about working out. And then 2008/2009 is where I really started doing the research, figuring out how to work out appropriately and properly. But I remember being a young Marine and going into the gym, and I had a little bit of ego, but what Marine doesn't? I would walk into the gym and I would look at everyone in the gym, everyone in there. And there were probably some massive guys. There were probably some bulls in the gym. It didn't matter. In my mind, I told myself that everyone in here is doing it wrong. And they're waiting for me to show them how to do it correctly. Now, you can call it what you want. You can call it inflated ego or whatever. But for me, it worked. For me, it was what I needed to tell myself to get myself in the zone and to realize that, hey, like I am introverted by nature. Not that I'm scared of anyone in here, but I'm also very reserved. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what I had to tell myself in order to get myself juiced up enough to go in here and do what I had to do. Because people are going to be looking at you, especially when you're my size. Well, I may be a little bigger than I was then, but I was putting up some decent numbers back then and I was little. And so it came with attention. And so just to be able to stand there and realize other people are going to be looking at you, they're going to be talking about you. And I know some people, they may draw back from the gym because of that, but I welcome that. I feel like maybe they just need an example. But that internal dialogue is what allowed me to press forward and allowed me to go ahead and do that thing that I was looking forward to doing. And the same thing here with business, with school, all these different things that I find myself involved in. That same mindset of, like I'm a beast, like whatever it is you need to tell yourself, it has to show up. I've been blessed with the opportunity here recently within the last year or so to work with some amazing kids. They play different sports, football, baseball, basketball. You pick it. If there's a ball or a puck involved, one of them does it. And I know one thing that was mentioned to me by one of the parents and also one of the coaches is that uh, the kids, playing from different areas, kind of had a different mindset than some of the competitors, and they could see it in them. And they were trying to decide or trying to figure out a way to bring out that, for lack of better terms, that dog in those kids. If you listen to if you listen to Eric Thomas, you've heard him talk about that dog. But essentially, it's what we're trying to figure out how to bring out of these kids. What can we do, to get these kids in the right mindset that when they step on the field, they own their territory? And the question is, what can you do to convince yourself that when you step into whatever arena you find yourself in, what do you need to tell yourself or believe about yourself to get you to realize that you own that territory? Because that's what's going to be your key to success. And again, I say that from my point of view, and that's what's been necessary for me. And mindset is everything. I know it may seem very cliche because it's said so often, but that's because it's true. And one last thought I'd like to leave you guys with is the idea that, no matter what it is you're deciding to do, no matter where it is you find yourself currently, the fact is you're here. You've gone through something. As I mentioned before, if you're hearing me today, you've obviously made it this far. But I'm hoping along the way that you've run into some hard times. I mean, I hope that doesn't sound too rough, but I hope you've run into some hard times because that only help you define and build your character. And I know life, is full of unexpected lessons. But if you made it this far, I think that just goes to prove you were definitely made for this. I don't know how many of you, read the Bible and things like that, but there's a common theory that life won't put more on you than you can bear. All right. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. This is going to be my last final thought, something I wrote a little earlier. And it says, hard times are inevitable. The crazy thing is, once you decide to really go after life, things don't get better right away. At that point, you flagged yourself for the testing, the part of life that comes to test your grit and merit. If you decide to embark on this journey, there will be days that you have your doubts. There will be days where stress and feelings of despair come for you. Hold on. Remember why you are here. Know that every brick life has thrown so far, you've used to build a foundation and your pillars. You are literally built for this. The length of your strides isn't as important as the consistency in which you apply them. Keep pushing, greatness awaits. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I really hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please like, comment, share, whatever platform you're listening on. Please support the show. I definitely enjoy doing this for you guys. And it's obviously a blessing and a huge honor to know that someone is listening out there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you'd like to follow me on Facebook, if you're not currently doing so, my name is John Waters. I have the tagline of Unlock Your Greatness. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, you will find me at underscore 3P Fitness. If you would like to follow the business page, it is simply Three Pillars. All right. And on Facebook, the business page is Three Pillars Fitness LLC. All right. So I hope you guys have an awesome week. Hope you find the courage to go ahead and push past whatever obstacles you're facing. And as always, keep pushing. Greatness awaits.